Well, I got money in the bank, gold in the safe, 30 in the clip, I got more in my waist. Done the whole shit, I can let it go to waste. Hold up. Well, I got money in the bank, gold in the safe, 30 in the clip, I got more in my waist. Done the whole shit, I can let it go to waste. Hold up. Well, I got money in the bank, gun on my waist, 30 on the clip, I got one in the fist. Rob a nigga quick, how I get it out the field. When I ride the voice, you just hear the city nigga feel. Hold up. Then I gotta go. When I jump in that pussy, I like Geronimo. Boy, I'm a killer, don't push me, I get the domino. I lay a nigga down, now the sound ain't yo, out of yo. But I got hundreds in the safe, hoes in my fist. Turn them all down for the work in the play. Try to set a nigga up like a server to the J's. I won't let them get the jump, but I've been looking for the pay. I'm a big spinner, big tipper. I'm a big shooter, bitch, big killer. Big Ruger for them bigger niggas. I swear to God, I shoot it out without you, bitch niggas. Cause I got 30 in the kid. Display, 100 round clips on the ground for this.
Yeah.
Doing good? How can I help you?
My name.
Okay.
My name or anything?
I mean, yeah. What can I do for you? Some ID, sir. Come here. Come here. Come here. Turn around. Turn around.
Don't do that.
Turn around. Do not do this.
Bro,
do not do this.
You
Turn
don't
around.
Do this.
You turn around. Turn the fuck around.
You don't want to do this, bro.
Turn around. Turn around.
Just let me go. I'll sit on the bench.
No. You're under arrest right now.
Yes, sir.
Put your hands behind your back.
Yes,
You understand?
Stop.
Tase him, Tosh. Get on the ground. Tase him now, goddammit!
I'm trying to get the taser.
God damn it.
Fucker.
Josh, hit you again!
Ah, shit, I shot my fucking self.
God damn it, you be right now.
Stupid. Get the fuck down.
Call for help on the radio jump right now.
Get the fuck off of me.
Josh.
Fucking ring fucking broke. What the fuck?
You're under arrest.
I'll beat your ass, motherfucker.
Josh, get on the radio. Call for help.
Broke.
Give me your handcuffs right now.
Oh my God. That is like the worst cringe video I've ever seen. But listen, the reason why I wanted to share that video and why I wanted you guys to see it in its entirety, it just goes to show you two things. Number one, guys, listen, security guards are not the only ones. All right. We are not the only ones who have, officers out there who make us look bad, officers out there who seem to have absolutely no training, officers who are completely inept at their job, right? This is the big bad police department that everybody says that we, aspire to be, that we wish that we could be, that we're just playing like we're cops. Guys, listen, there are a lot of people in that industry that are just like that. Just like that guy. That's the guy that all of you aspire to be. That's the guy. Guys, listen, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Don't get it twisted. The vast majority of people that are working in that industry, they are not putting in hours at the gym. They're not putting in hours at the range. They're not taking courses, taking classes. And this is no aspersion or negativity towards police officers. But as security guards, I think it is so important for us to understand the reality of what we're talking about here. The reality. There's too many security guards who are out there having this negative view of themselves, having this lesser than view of themselves based on what it is that we are asked to do. Guys, listen, we get paid to do a very specific job. I had a conversation with a guy the other day. He says, I come in here every single day and I watch you stand at that door and you got your little uniform on, you got your little gun, you got your little taser. You're all tactical, right? But I watch you every single day watch people walk out of this store without paying. I watch them steal, and you don't do a goddamn thing. This guy was in my face. He was giving me his 110% evaluation of me as an officer and me as a person. You're worthless. You don't do anything. And I said, sir, you and I both have the same authority. I can make a citizen's arrest, and you can make a citizen's arrest. If you're here every single day and you see people that are stealing, you see people that are committing crimes, people that are doing wrong, why don't you do something? And you know what his answer was? They don't pay me to stop shoplifters. And I said, exactly. They don't pay me to stop shoplifters either. You have a very specific reason why you're here. I'm assuming it's to shop and buy your groceries. I also have a very specific reason why I'm here. Now, contractually, it's not my place to explain to you why I'm here. But I can assure you that I am not here for shoplifting. So just as you are not getting paid to stop shoplifters, I'm not getting paid to stop shoplifters either. So I wanted to share that video with you guys because so many times people are seeing themselves in the role of security. And the average person, the average public person has a view of security guards. Now, in reality, if you were to talk to people about their view of police, they don't have a positive view of police either. They see police officers in their everyday environment, in their everyday view of interacting with police. They have a very negative. Most people, I would say above 80%, most people have a negative view of police officers in reality. Now, if you catch them on camera or you have a conversation with them around people where they want to make sure they can virtue signal, they will say all the right things about police. But they have a very similar view of police officers as well. But you as a security guard, you as a security officer, you should not have a view of yourself in one realm and then be looking at police officers as this high established level of competency. Because to be honest with you, there are more people that fall into the category of that guy's video that I just showed than people that are some elite SWAT member. It's just not reality. Okay. And I will be the person that will come on here and I will say that and I will stand on it because I fucking know it to be true. Okay. All right. Let's move on. That's just that. All right. Let's move on to another topic that I want to talk about today, and that's security guard insurance. This is something that is becoming an increasingly more prevalent conversation. People are talking about USCCA, if they will cover officers if they're involved in a shooting. People talk about US Law Shield, CCW Safe. And the reason why I bring that up is because I saw a very interesting podcast today that was done by an attorney. Now, I'm going to tell you before we go any further, I don't know if you guys know this or not. I'm not an attorney, okay? So when I give you my opinion moving forward in this conversation, it's solely based on my outlook of the situation, my thought process, how I see it. I'm not an attorney. Please make sure you consult an attorney if you're looking for legal advice. But I want to play the recent prank video. Most of you guys know this video. It's the guy, he's some sort of YouTuber, right? He goes to a mall. I think he does like a DoorDash. The delivery guy shows up. I don't even know what they're doing. I don't know. Like they put the phone up to the guy's ear and they're saying some really weird shit. And the guy's like putting the phone in the guy's face. There's not really like an imminent threat of bodily harm or danger, but the DoorDash kid, he pulls out what looks to be a snubby. Shout out to the snubby fam out there. And he pops this guy, right? So they take it to a grand jury. And I think that the guy has USCCA. So the prosecuting attorney says as soon as he shoots this guy, he contacts USCCA. And then USCCA has said that they will not cover this guy's attorney's fees. So the question is whether or not USCCA is running a scam, because there have been 2 or 3 high-profile shootings where people have tried to utilize that coverage only to be denied, right? So I want to play the video. I want you guys to see what's going on, and then I want to give you my opinion on the situation. Let's go ahead and bring this into the stream. Stand by.
What's that?
We're thinking about my twinkle.
No.
We're thinking about my
Get out of my business, like officer. Stop.
We're thinking about my twinkle.
Stop.
Okay, so that was the shooting. Okay. Now, from what I know from having USCCA myself, is that if you're in a situation where you are found guilty, or even if you're charged with a crime, they can get out of that coverage. And I think that like a lot of people aren't understanding that an insurance policy, whether we're talking about a health insurance policy, a life insurance policy, or a self-defense insurance policy similar to this, if they have the writing and the verbiage that says that they do not have to pay in a situation where you are being charged with the crime or you're being found guilty of a crime. Now, the guy in this video was found not guilty in terms of like attempted murder or whatever the highest level of crime was, but there was a secondary charge of, I think it was discharging this weapon in public, right? And they found him guilty on that. So that's the technicality where USCCA is coming in allegedly and saying, look, we don't have to cover this guy's legal fees. We don't have to pay out on the legal fees because he's being found guilty of a crime. So therefore, we're able to get out of this. My advice to you guys would be this. Most people who are getting this type of coverage, they're living in areas where they're more likely to be prosecuted. So for instance, me being here in Portland, people living in California, people living in Washington, if you're living in New York State, if you're in these areas where you're more likely to be prosecuted for utilizing a firearm in self-defense, you have to also understand that you're more likely to be in a situation where they will find something to hang on you, right? I was listening to a podcast yesterday where this attorney was breaking down the wide spectrum of disturbing the peace. So in all reality, if you're acquitted of doing something in terms of self-defense, but the district attorney hangs a disturbing the peace charge on you, and you're found guilty of that misdemeanor of disturbing the peace while in the process of defending yourself, potentially USCCA would not pay out on that insurance claim. And you're talking about anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000 to defend yourself in court. So for the security guard who is looking for insurance to maybe have like a secondary protection if you were to get into a situation where you're sued civilly, I don't know that that's necessarily going to work. I've had so many people that have said, nope, this company will cover you. This company will cover you. I've looked into this, but there's a lot of gray area. And I would say that if you're working in private security, I don't know that having your own secondary insurance is necessarily worth it in terms of if they would pay out if you were involved in a situation. Let me pull up a couple of these comments before we go any further. PBE says, my man, yo, what up, homie? Donald, yes, you are so welcome. Guys, listen, if anybody has any questions, here is my email address. You're more than welcome to email me anything and everything. I am here to help. So also with this video, I think that people, when they have insurance, and I would hate for security guards to fall into this category, a lot of times when people get self-defense insurance, they have this misconception of what is self-defense. I would challenge any one of you with that video. We can play it again. I'll challenge any one of you guys.
What's that?
Hang on. I'll challenge any one of you guys to be able to look at this and tell me where the imminent threat of death or bodily harm was. It's just not there. Too many people in the 2A space and in the security guard industry, they have this fuck around and find out mentality. And it that works on social media, that works in the comment section of YouTube, but you cannot live your life in a fuck around and find out mentality. It doesn't work like that, especially if you're in these anti-firearm states and cities and counties. You will get yourself all the way fucked up in the game. And for a lot of people that follow this channel, you guys are in your early to your mid 20s, your early 30s. You're not aware of how the world really works and how people see gun ownership and self-defense. They're just not okay with it. They're not. So depending on where you live, where you're at, You put yourself in this situation and you're going to find yourself in a bad way. Let's play this video one more time before we move on.
When thinking about my twinkle.
No.
When thinking about my
Get out of my
twinkle.
face and walk opposite. Stop.
When thinking about my twinkle.
Stop.
Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So that's my thought process on that. Guys, listen, we have to talk about the situation that happened in Philadelphia. For those who don't know, I lived outside of the Philadelphia area for about 8 years. I was a Pennsylvania state constable. I also worked in the prisons there. I know this area very well. I know this Macy's. I have been to this Macy's. I have shopped there many, many times. I want to play the video of the, I don't know if it's the police chief, if it's a sergeant. They're going to give their account of the situation, and then I'm going to go over my top 5 ways to avoid finding yourself in this situation. So we're going to do a quick 5-second moment of silence for these fallen officers. I know one officer lost his life. The other one is in the hospital right now. Let's do a 5-second moment of silence. We'll bring in the video, we'll watch it, and then we'll discuss.
Are just doing their job. They're here to make sure that people can come to this location and shop in a safe manner.
Now at 4, one Macy's security officer is dead. Another hospitalized after they were stabbed by a shoplifting suspect. It happened in the heart of Center City as horrified holiday shoppers looked on.
The big story on Action News today is that double stabbing inside the Macy's in Center City this morning. It all began with an effort to steal some hats, then took a deadly turn when the suspect came back to the store following a confrontation.
Brian, and Sarah, tragically, the 2 security guards hired to keep those shoppers safe inside of Macy's flagship store brutally attacked this morning. Philadelphia police say 2 unarmed security guards were stabbed and slashed by a man who was trying to steal hats from the retail store on 13th and Market around 10:45 Monday morning.
All right, horrible situation. Guys, listen, let's get right into it, okay? I'm at a loss for words, to be honest with you guys. Like the attitude of companies. I had a conversation today with a company that I have been trying to submit a bid for quite a while. This would probably be a very good entry into owning a security company and operating my own contracts. But during the conversation, the point of contact was like, look, you know, our customers, our client, our demographics, you know, they don't want a tactical looking officer. You know, we want something very low profile. We want something very low vis. And at the, you know, absolutely no firearms. Our clients, our customers, they're not okay with firearms. We don't want firearms. And as much as I want to push for this opportunity, I do not in good conscience feel comfortable setting an officer in a situation where they are working downtown in an area just like this. High theft, high crime, high violence, low police response, low accountability across the board. I don't want to put an officer in that environment. So, you know, I'm conflicted. On one hand, I want to move forward. I want to enhance my ability to have a business, to potentially make some money here. But at the same time, I know the result of situations when you send an officer out there ass naked into a situation like this. So my top 5 ways to avoid this, as always, number 5 is just not to work unarmed posts. There's so many people out there who are saying, look, man, that's where I have to start. I get that. I get it. My advice to you is that the money that you can make working unarmed security, you can make that working almost anywhere else. You can work any job. Hell, if you're working at Taco Bell, at least there's a counter between you and the potential crackhead. But in a security situation, specifically where, you know, these companies and these clients, They want you to be forward facing. They want you right at the door. They want you interacting with people. If there is a problem, they want you engaging that subject. If there is an issue, they want you handling that problem. And then on top of that, the industry itself. I'm on LinkedIn, and I joined this group of security professionals, and it's like security professionals from all over the world. It's this huge LinkedIn network group, right? And there was a video from the UK, and it was a very high-end department store. What's crazy about what I'm about to tell you is I said this on Thursday of last week. There was an officer in the video, and there's two hooligans, two thugs who are trying to steal what looks like really high-end purses, really high-end sweaters, and there's one security guard, unarmed, no vest, no radio, no pepper spray, and he's in a tug of war. He's in a tug of war with two different guys. He's pulling on the one guy who's got the purse. He's pulling on the other guy who's got the fucking sweaters, right? He gets a couple of items back, and the guys run out the door. And every single person on this thread, now these are company owners, these are industry leaders, these are people from, you know, the huge box retail security companies. I'm talking about managers and supervisors, thought leaders in the industry of private security. And you know what each one of them said on this video? Bravo. Bravo to that officer. We need more officers like that. Finally, someone who's willing to step in and do something. Finally, someone who's willing to not just stand by. And my exact wording in my comment was, until when? Until he gets stabbed. And that's what I said. It's all good until he gets stabbed. It's actually all good until the client says, we didn't want him going hands-on to begin with, so we're going to cut the contract unless you fire him. Right? But then 3 days later, two fucking security guards, and it said that the reason this all went down is because they intervened and they tried to stop someone from stealing. And they are the ones who suffer the consequences. So we have a situation where right now, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. Let me take this off. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. Security guards are catching all the fucking shit, right? So we work in an environment where the company has said, look, the police aren't going to show up, so we have to have somebody here. And in many situations, they say the police won't show up. We have to have somebody here, but we don't want them to look too intimidating. We don't want them to be in a situation where they have a firearm. So now you have security guards who are placed in this situation and they have no protection, and they have no backup, and they have no police response. And we have to deal with people coming into the stores or going online and making fun of us and putting all the blame on us. Here in Portland, our district attorney, who is the lead prosecuting attorney for everything that happens here in Multnomah County in Portland, he has come out specifically and said, I will not prosecute. I don't believe in prosecuting homeless people. I don't believe in prosecuting those who have historical oppression, right? You can Google this. You can Google tons of videos of him on the news saying that he does not believe in prosecuting. And his record, it backs that up. He does not believe in prosecuting. So the police department, they have taken the stance that why should we go and make an arrest on someone that the sheriff's department is not going to take because ultimately the district attorney is not going to prosecute. So all the way up the chain to the highest level of law enforcement officer in Portland, which is the district attorney, he has said, absolutely not. I'm not getting involved. I don't believe in it. Okay, well then what? So now the cops aren't doing their job. The sheriff's department says they're not going to house them because the district attorney's not going to do anything. So then it all filters down to the poor, lonely security guard who's just standing there trying to do his job, but he's holding his dick because the companies don't want him to look too aggressive. That's the reality of the situation that we're working in. So if you're working as an unarmed security guard, you have to know that you are now placing yourself in a situation where everyone else above you with all of the training, with all of the resources, with all of the ability to do something, they've all tapped out. So now you, as the unarmed security guard, you're the guy that has to make the right decision. But even on these threads, people are trying to gas you up to be the person to step in between the crazy guy that wants to steal shit and the door. And unfortunately, you are going to lose on every aspect of that situation. You're going to lose if the company decides to cut you. You're going to lose in the court of public opinion if you hurt or harm the poor, defenseless, homeless person. And you're going to lose if the crackhead decides, you know what, I'm just going to stick a hole in this motherfucker. So is the juice worth the squeeze in terms of working unarmed security? And I have to say no. Let's get some comments before we go any further. Let's see what we got here. These guys work for Macy's, not a contract company. Many proprietary security roles are unarmed. There is a place for that, but they are a little more than customer service reps if there is a need for security intervention. There must be an armed presence. I agree. The unfortunate thing is that even if you tell someone that you're working in an unarmed position and your job is mostly customer service, you cannot get that across to security guards. So equally as I did a rant about the district attorney and the police departments and all that shit, let me talk directly to security guards. A lot of this falls on us. It falls on us because the majority of you guys can't follow simple fucking directions, right? Someone writes on a piece of paper, stand at the door, check receipts, and don't do anything. And within 10 minutes, you motherfuckers are like deep in the store, hog tying somebody and putting a spit mask on them. Like, a lot of this shit falls on us, right? The fact that security guards can't follow 5 simple instructions. They can't follow a hands-off approach to dealing with the situation. They can't follow the standard operating procedures, right? So it's equally 50-50. It's them and it's us. We cause a lot of this shit for ourselves, right? Let's see what we got here. That's exactly what happened, Donald. I literally can walk from my job site to the Macy's. Yeah, I agree with you. Listen, I empathize with your situation, and I'm glad that you're safe, okay? I'm glad that that wasn't you, and my heart goes out to these guys. It does, because I feel like a lot of this stuff is avoidable. A lot of it could be avoidable, could be avoided if people would simply follow their post orders. And then number 2, if these companies and these organizations and these cities would stop treating security like we're completely disposable. I am thinking about running for political office in 2024. And I tell you guys that on the off chance that I were able to win, if I were to be able to become a state legislator, I would make it illegal for unarmed security to be working a post without armor. At the very least, if they're not going to be able to be armed, they should be protected. Now, I'm getting off my topic here, but that is something that I will absolutely introduce if I'm ever elected. I will not allow people to have people working in environments without stab protection or bulletproof protection. That's completely unacceptable in my opinion. All right, let me get back to my my shit here. I'm getting off on a rant. All right, number 4, ask for in writing protective gear. Most people who are working in unarmed positions, 2 things. You're working in a at-will basis, which means that the company can terminate you or terminate your shifts at any time. I understand that, right? And most companies are not going to issue you protective gear. They're not going to give you a stab vest. They're not going to give you a bulletproof vest. What I would suggest is that you send an email to your HR and you explain to them, I am willing to take this job. However, I am requesting one of 2 things. Either you provide me with this equipment or you authorize me to purchase the equipment on my own. And I will purchase whatever type of equipment you guys want me to have. Some companies do not want you to wear an outer carrier. Some people don't want you to have a more tactical look. But there are so many different options out there in terms of protective wear. You can have stab/spike-proof vests that are very low profile, and you can wear them under your bright yellow high-vis shirt that the company wants you to wear. It'll go great with a pair of clown shoes that they offer you, right? You can wear anything and everything. There's so many different options out there. And what I would say is I will wear and I will purchase whatever it is that you say fits within the image of what we're trying to accomplish here. But if I can't wear armor, what I would like for you to do is to put that in writing and tell me why. Now, I don't know if in the fact that you end up getting stabbed or shanked in the line of duty, that if you have this in writing, that that's going to give you some sort of leg to stand on if you were to take them to court or your family were to try and sue them in court. But I would much rather have something in writing that says why they are denying me the opportunity to protect myself and have that in that case than to not. So if you have to work that unarmed shift, if you have to work that location and they won't allow you to be, physically protected, I would like to have that in writing as to why they're not allowing you to do that. And again, I don't know fully what you can do with that moving forward, but I would much rather have that and be able to take that to an attorney. Should I be, maimed or harmed, or my family be able to take that to an attorney? Should I be killed? At the very least, take it to the news, make some noise. I think you can find yourself getting a settlement out of that. Number 3 is know your post orders. For the most part, and I know somebody's going to come in the comments and say, well, in fucking, I don't know, Bozeman, Montana, we have goddamn police rights and we can stick a baton up somebody's ass. All right, well, everybody doesn't live in Bozeman, Montana. For the most part, security guards' post orders do not authorize you to go hands-on to take property. It just doesn't. Okay, excluding Bozeman, Montana. So if your post orders are for you to observe and report, just observe and report. Guys, there is nothing wrong with observing and reporting. There are people in the military called scouts. Their only job is to observe and report and tell the guys with the tip of the spear what is going on. It's okay to just observe and report. This idea that we have to do something more than what we're being paid to do is absolutely asinine. And if more officers would get that through their thick, smooth-brained skulls, that would keep a lot of this shit from happening. All right? I know I sound like I'm amped up today. It's probably the coffee. That's like my 3rd cup of coffee. But it's so frustrating. It's frustrating. None of us can stop a crazy person that just runs in from behind us and stabs us in the neck. None of us. I'm susceptible to it too. Okay? But a lot of the shit that happens on the administrative side and on the physical side, it can be avoided if people would just take a deep breath, right? And as they say on Super Troopers, pull your head out of your ass and think, okay? Know your post orders and do what it is they're asking you to do. Let's get some comments in here. My man, Big D, following policies and procedures of the company saves a lot of headache. Knowing the policies on what you're comfortable with doing. Absolutely. My man, D, I love you, buddy. Most companies now prefer you bring your own, at least now. Yep. Let's see what we got here. If you can't protect yourself, you can't protect the others. That's the truth of the matter. The problem with policy is that even when you follow them, the company still placates to the uneducated clients in order to keep the contract and screw over the officer. Let's talk about that. The answer to that is absolutely. So now that you know that, and you can articulate that, what do you do now? What do you do now? Now that you understand that, you should operate your time at your post, your time at your location. If you know that no matter what you do, it's going to be wrong. You know that no matter what action you take, they're going to find some way to make it your fault. That if something happens, you're going to be the person that gets cut so that they can save the contract. Okay, well then under those circumstances, why are you judo throwing somebody, putting them in an arm bar and handcuffing them? Right? If I understand everything that you just wrote, why would I get involved to the further degree than just observe and report? I'm doing this. Okay? Now, if I'm 25 and I don't feel comfortable or secure in myself enough to say, yes, I work as a security guard and my job is to observe and report. If I'm insecure in who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm bringing to the table, then I won't be able to just read what you just wrote and then operate accordingly. I'm going to have that fuck around and find out mentality, and I'm going to make somebody pay because they stole a bag of chips and a soda. And it's all of a sudden my solemn duty to make sure that they don't walk out the store because I'm tired of seeing all of the negativity and the problems of Portland. This is where people get themselves messed up. So you just perfectly articulated what all of us who are working in security know. We know this. We all know this. I have a message board right now with my entire company that I work for. Every single person on there shares the exact same sentiment that you just said. How many of those officers are going to go to work tonight and do some dumb shit? A large percent of them. Again, this comes down to us. This comes down to us. Just stop doing it. If you understand it, then stop doing it. Not saying you, but just in general, right? Woo! Poop rolls downhill. Protect yourself by using their words against them. Know your post orders, know the rules and regs in order to justify actions. They placate to the clients, but also don't want lawsuits. This is why being able to articulate yourself is so important. Guys, I put up a question last night. I said, if you were training a security guard, what would be the most important thing? What would be the first thing that you would train them on? Would it be defensive tactics? Would it be, arrest and control? Would it be customer service, right? I would say, aside from customer service, it's the ability to articulate yourself. Communication. Communication is key. In our company, one of the things that we can't do, okay, this is an unwritten rule. One of the things that you can't do as a contract security guard is tell your client no. So if your client says, hey, when Steve the notorious shoplifter, comes in on site, I want him handcuffed and detained. Okay, now, if you know anything about the law, if you know anything about the law based on the area that you're in, let's just talk Portland. Can I physically arrest somebody and handcuff them on site because they've walked into a store where they have been verbally trespassed? Okay. Let's not get off into the legal weeds. Okay. Can I? Maybe, probably. Let's say that I can. How is that going to go over in a place like Portland? Someone sees that. Homeless guy walks into the store, shuffles in, he's not doing anything. Karen and Darren are over at the self-checkout, minding their business. They're talking about getting some matcha tea, going to a Timbers game. And then as soon as this poor defenseless homeless guy comes in, I grab him, put his hands behind his back, and I handcuff him. Then that hits social media. Okay. Now what? We just brought up what's going to happen. We all know how that's going to play out once the negative backlash hits, once the social justice warriors get involved, right? We all know how that's going to play out. But I can't tell my employer I'm not doing that. I have to be able to articulate it. And this is where it comes into the education of our clients. I have to be able to articulate why I cannot do that legally, but what I can do in that situation to still accomplish their goals. I can put them in contact with my supervisor or my business owner, and they can discuss different ways to accomplish the same goal, right? But if I can't articulate myself, if I don't have the knowledge and understanding of the laws, but not just the laws, the policies, but not just the policies, the politics and the optics of the area that I'm working. This is why all of that is so important, because knowing and understanding the policies, the procedures, and the laws, but not understanding the politics of where you're working and how that dynamic plays into you maintaining your job is what so many officers lack. And you almost can't teach it, because I cannot make you aware of something that you're unaware of. If you walk into a produce department and everybody has multicolored hair and they're all dressed in black and you're in Portland, if you can't understand the dynamics politically of where you're at, I can't help you. And there's a lot of officers that walk into that situation and go, oh, this is interesting. and then say and do shit that gets them in trouble. Oh my God. This is becoming a huge, huge rant. I am so sorry, guys. All right. Let me get to number two. Number two. All right. Train and implement your knowledge. All right. Train on your firearms. Get into shape. Don't be like the officer in that first video that's completely out of shape, inept, and unable to handle himself. Okay. Train. Also, implement your knowledge. And when I say train and implement your knowledge, don't just leave your knowledge to the tactical aspects of our job, right? Read the news. Get involved politically in your area. Understand who the players are. Know what the temperature is of your police department, the temperature of your sheriff's department, the temperature of your district attorney, right? Know how things are more than likely going to play out if you do X, Y, and Z. Aside from that, most people do not want to hear this word that I'm going to say, situational awareness. Before you take the close quarters combat class, before you take the jujitsu defensive tactics, tactical handcuffing class, study up on situational awareness. What is one of the smartest things that you can do if you're in a situation? Now, if I was working in Philly and I had a situation where I went hands-on, or me and another officer had an interaction with what I'm assuming this guy probably looks like. Let's all just picture the guy who's stealing 8 5150 hats from Macy's, what he probably looks like. Let's just all imagine, okay? Do we have that in our mind? I'm going to assume that if I had a negative interaction with that guy, I would probably be on orange or red alert for the remainder of the day. More than likely, I would probably come off the front door and put myself in a position where my back is up against the wall and I have a good view left, right, and forward of anything that's coming at me. If it was really egregious and this person seemed like the kind of guy that was with the shit, maybe I call and get switched out. It's okay to tactically retreat and not be in an area. But this is a level of situational awareness to where you have to read the tea leaves. And I truly believe that intention has a smell. You and I all know that there are times where you deal with people on a daily basis and the guy goes, I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to be waiting for you when you get off of work. I got your number, blah, 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 blah. We deal with that on a daily basis. Some of you have been in situations where somebody has said that and you believed it. You felt it. It's a different way that it feels when it's coming from somebody who has done that before. There's a different feeling when you're interacting with someone and they look at you and they give you that, yeah, I'm with it. If you haven't dealt with that, if you haven't experienced that, if you can't pick up on that, you are in the wrong industry. You should not be working in a security capacity if you can't pick up on that. Your spidey senses should tingle like a motherfucker when the guy looks at you and says, I'm coming back. And if it doesn't, you shouldn't be doing this. If what I'm saying right now isn't resonating, you've never been in that situation, get out of the industry. Because the second that you feel that, now you have to make the same moves that you would. We were talking about the pop-up that came up where the guy's like, this is how the company is going to act. This is what they're going to do. You are able to foreshadow 3 and 4 steps down the road of what the company is going to do in that situation. That same feeling has to be there when you're dealing with someone in a negative environment, a negative exchange. You have to say, no, this guy is different. He's more likely to be with the shit. And I need to now make moves to not either be in this position or to be in a position where I can see this thing coming well before it happens. Okay? Very important. And that's what I mean when I say implement your training. Let's get a couple more comments in here. Bentonhausen says, I think people care too much about the politics in a situation when really, as long as you're doing your job and it's within the law and policy, there should be nothing to worry about. I agree. Let's see what this one says. I had that situation happen and the manager was upset when told to call the manager. Let's see here. A part of the problem is private security has now become a part of the political system. Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel part of that falls on the hiring personnel when interviewing the officer. Many put untrained and inexperienced officers in that position. Let me talk about that. The demand for private security has increased. Okay, that's a great thing for our industry. It's a great thing. The problem is that in order to meet that demand, supervisors and managers are being told by the owners, hey, just fill the shift. And what they're doing is they're hoping and they're praying and they're hinging on the probability that something bad isn't going to happen. But if you look at it in all seriousness, what's happening is somebody who's in a different state, in a different city, who makes a different tax bracket worth of money than you, they're gambling with your life. They're saying, I am willing to put this unarmed, uneducated, unprotected person into a situation that clearly is dangerous. Otherwise, they wouldn't be hiring us to come in there in the first place. And I'm playing the probability that you don't get stabbed. I'm playing the probability that there's not an active shooter and you have to respond. That is criminal, in my opinion, to be putting people in that environment. Unfortunately, the people that fill these positions, they need the job. They need the money. A lot of them want to be of help or of service. These are guys that maybe they couldn't be a cop. Maybe they're not ready to be a cop. Maybe they don't have that experience, that level of dedication, that ability level. Maybe they're not as trained and as awesome as that police officer from Arkansas in that first video, right? But they'll put us in a situation where we have to deal with the Philly guy and then get stabbed up, right? Whew. All right, let's get back. We got one more thing. All right. My last thing, guys, my last thing. Accept reality and address it accordingly. That has been the theme of everything that we've been talking about today, right? Understanding reality, accepting it, and addressing it accordingly. We talked about the reality of what the company is going to do. We talked about the reality of the person that is truly intent on harming you, right? Those are two realities that as a security guard, security officer, you have to come to terms with. You have to know that your company does not have your back. You have to know that your company does not have your best interest at heart. You have to know that this industry is not set up for you to be successful or for you to advance or for you to become something more than what you are, which is a security guard. It's not set up for that, guys. We can talk about the desire for training. We can talk about the desire to bridge the gap. We can talk about the desire to make it a more professional industry. We are attempting, and when I say we, I mean people like myself, people like you guys who are trying to rise above, right? We are attempting to make something more out of making the fries than making the fries. Making the fries is just about making the fries. Now, you go someplace, get a good order of fries and go, man, whoever's making the fries, they fucking slap today, right? Yeah, that happens. And I hope that when I'm working, people go, man, he's a different type of guard. That's literally why I call my channel Atypical Security Guard. I don't want to be the typical security guard. But that doesn't mean that me wanting to be above the typical security guard, that the industry is going to come with it. It's not. The industry's not going anywhere, guys. They are implementing so many things right now in Oregon. They've already implemented it. I think it's going into effect in California, where the average person will not be able to own a security company. It's only going to be these large box retailer type companies. And the reason why they're doing that, they do not want the level of officer ability to increase and be of threat to the police departments. Specifically here in Portland, the big issue with private security is that when the police officers and the police union try to pull their response as a political tool, hey, we just won't show up, we won't interact. That has a lot of teeth until you have private security that says, hey, we'll do it. So now what they're doing is they're instituting and implementing a whole list of laws and regulations and rules that will keep people from being able to offer that service, making everyone more reliant on the state or more reliant on the government. They don't want people to have the ability to protect themselves, police themselves. And you add that to all of the attacks on the Second Amendment, and you see where this is going, right? There's no way to stop it, guys. There's nothing that is going to happen on our end as security guards that's going to stop that train from rolling. It's rolling. Okay. So we have to accept the reality as it is, and we have to operate accordingly. That does not mean that we shouldn't be in security. That need, no matter how much things change, no matter how crazy things get, the need for people to be protected in the exact moment that something happens, that's not going anywhere either. And I accept that reality. That's the reality that I operate from. God forbid, when my wife, my family, my kids are in that store, I want someone there. I don't care if they're wearing a high-vis shirt. I don't care what the situation is, what the politics is. I want someone there to be able to respond. Okay? So accept the reality that dangerous situations happen and behave accordingly. Okay? These are my 5 things that I would suggest you do. Let's go over them real quick one more time. Number 5, don't work unarmed posts. I cannot say that enough. Number 4, ask for in writing your protective gear or why they will not allow you to have it. Number 3, know your post orders. Know your post orders and follow your post orders. If you don't like your post orders, go to a different site. Number 2, train and implement your knowledge. Don't just focus on the tactical cool shit. The soft skills, being able to talk to people, de-escalation, being able to understand and empathize with people, being able to meet people where they are and talk them into a position or place where you have the control. All of that is so much more important than any of the tactical stuff that comes with law enforcement or security or firearms. If you can articulate yourself and you can handle yourself well, you'll be way more of service than anyone else that comes in with a ton of military experience. Number 1, accept reality and address it accordingly. Understand the reality. Let's get these last couple of comments before we get out here. It astounds me how many people are incapable of being situationally aware and instead opt to go into hard skills. There is a reason why the military focuses heavy hearts and minds, more them than us. I agree. We had a situation. Hang on. Give me a second. Let's talk about a hypothetical situation. Hypothetical situation. A person gets into a argument with a person that's shoplifting. Okay, so shoplifter is trying to leave the store, hypothetically, okay? He's trying to leave the store, and the security guard tries to make a stop. Hey, give me that shit back. Fuck you, I paid for it. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. And then everybody gets into like a little shoving match, right? Take the shit. Rips it from the guy's hand, and the guy says, I got something for you in the car. I got something for you, motherfucker. And then he goes out to the car. Now, hypothetically in this situation, if your job is to work inside the store, where should you stay? Inside the store. Now, if you're working inside the store and said shoplifter who has just threatened to go to the car because he has something for you, if that guy walks back through the doors and produces a firearm, how justified would you be if you dealt with that threat? My opinion, you would be extremely justified. Because again, we're talking about communication, and you're going to articulate that. Under my post orders, I was inside the store. This person had made this threat, had already come into the store, had done X, Y, and Z. You'll see on the video that this was a situation. He made this threat, and he came back into the store, and he produced a firearm, at which time okay? Now, think about that same situation, and the guy says, I'm going to go to the car. I got something for you. And the security guard walks his happy ass outside the door. This is what I'm talking about. Why are you going outside? Because I think all of you can probably guess what most likely, hypothetically, happens in this situation. Security guard goes outside. Prove it, motherfucker. And then what? I'll let you guys assume what happens, right? And then that has an effect on everybody. It has an effect on everybody at that location, and it has an effect on security across the board. Because if you live in a state that does not feel good about private security, specifically armed security, if you live in a state that is anti-gun, and then you as Fallujah Phil decide that you're going to step outside the door and provoke the next chain of events, how does that play for private security? How's that look? I go to work knowing what to do, save myself and others when absolutely necessary, but know when not to intervene as well. Knowing when not to get involved would probably be the absolute best thing that I would say an officer can do, right? I check criminals. I'm not playing. They think that I'm more dangerous than them. I had so many incidents where I actually check these knuckleheads. All right, I respect that. But I would caution you and say, to what end? Okay, so you put them in their place, and you told them that you're not the one to be fucked with, and that if they want to fuck around and find out, then so be it. Okay, what do you win from that? In the least damaging situation, someone video records that and that hits social media. I know a lot of people say, I don't care. Okay, your company cares, the client cares, and ultimately, you know, that can be very problematic for you in terms of maintaining your position, right? Worst case scenario, the guy comes back, and now either you have to prove to him that you really are about that life, or he has to prove to you that you're not about that life. And either way, neither of those are good. They're not good for him. They're not good for you. They're not good for the company. They're not good for the contract. They're not good for private security, right? So I get it. Guys, I cannot tell you guys how different of a person I used to be, right? Like I cannot, like, I am not that guy. I am not that guy. I am a naturally aggressive, angry, confrontational person. And I have tried very, very hard to get myself to a different place in life as I've gotten older. Okay. And I'm thankful for that. All right. But I get it. You guys aren't telling me anything that I don't understand or respect. I don't appreciate being disrespected, called out my name, challenged. And I'm a big dude, guys. I'm 6'1", 265 pounds. Like, I will fuck somebody up. And I mean that. And I stand on that. But I'm not that guy. Okay. Because I understand what that means to not just me, but everybody in security. All right. I get it. Last comment. There are some instances where a stern approach can make a good point, and sometimes it's better not to engage. The crux is knowing when and when not to implement either. I think that is absolutely the best statement. We will leave it at that. Guys, we had a great live stream today. I hope that I was able to provide you with some benefit. I know that a lot of this, it became a rant, but I'm passionate. I'm passionate about you guys. I do. I love you guys. I love this industry. I love what we're doing. I love what we're creating. I love that so many people are trying to be better. I love that. And I want to continue to see that, guys. All right. My view is this: they don't typically pay me enough to F anyone up that costs more. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the bonus plan. You got to pay me on the bonus plan. All right. Last comment. Glad I was able to catch the end. Absolutely. Guys, if you go through and you watch this again, please drop some comments below your thoughts. If you disagree with what I'm saying, that's okay. Share it. Put it in there. All right. I'm going to try and go to the gun range and clap some cheeks later on. So y'all have a great one. I would love to get up with you one day and share experiences. Hey, hit me up on my email. My email address is right here. Anybody that wants to email me, email me. If I can be of any help, any service, I will do anything and everything I can for you guys. All right. All right. Y'all be safe. Thanks for a great live stream, guys. This was good.